president gets set to deliver his State of the Union address tonight. A woman accused of fatally poisoning her husband goes to trial, and Zohran Mamdani struggles to shovel New York out from under a blizzard. I'm Daily Wire Executive Editor John Bickley with Georgia Howe. It's Tuesday, February 24th. This is Evening Wire.
The Trump administration is keeping up the pressure on the Mexican government after assisting in the operation that killed a major drug cartel kingpin over the weekend. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told Fox Tuesday that the administration is urging Mexico to take stronger action to curb the flow of illicit drugs into the U.S.
We are coordinating and cooperating and pushing the Mexican government to do more to end the scourge of deadly drugs coming through our United States southern border, which, of course, is now secure thanks to President Trump as well. He has made it a day one priority to target and go after these vicious drug cartels that have shipped deadly poison to our country for far too long.
Leavitt also said the president is, quote, unaware of any reports of any Americans being hurt, kidnapped, or killed in the spike of violence.
President Trump will bring Turning Point USA CEO Erica Kirk as a special guest to a State of the Union speech tonight. The Kirks and their organization played a major role in Trump's return to office. The White House has said that the president will mention the Kirks in his address tonight and highlight the, quote, tremendous revival of faith, Christianity, and belief in God in our country since Charlie's death. After Charlie was assassinated, Trump honored him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, with Erica receiving it on his behalf in a ceremony at the White House.
A Utah judge shot down the defense's request to disqualify prosecutors from the murder trial of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer. Defense attorneys sought to remove the team because the daughter of one of the prosecutors attended the college event where Kirk was shot and killed. However, Judge Tony Graff Jr. ruled that this connection did not create a conflict of interest, stating he remained unpersuaded that the prosecutor's familial relationship influenced the decision to seek the death penalty against Robinson.
Opening statements began this week in the trial of Corey Richens, a Utah mother of three accused of murdering her husband. Daily Wire reporter Lyndon Blake has the story.
Corey Richens is accused of spiking her husband Eric's cocktail with 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. Prosecutors allege the 2022 killing followed a pattern of domestic violence, noting that Eric previously told family he believed his wife tried to poison him years earlier in Greece and again on Valentine's Day just weeks before his death. While Corey maintains her innocence, the state points to a motive of financial gain, highlighting that she closed a $2 million real estate deal the day after Eric died and subsequently authored a children's book about grief to promote her story. During opening arguments this week, prosecutors pointed to the fact that her phone was seized as part of the investigation, leading her to get a new phone. Here's the prosecutor explaining what was found on that new cell phone.
On that new phone, there were the following internet searches. Can cops uncover deleted messages iPhone? Can you delete everything off an old iPhone without actually having it? Can deleted text messages be retrieved from an iPhone? How to completely wipe an iPhone clear remotely. How to permanently delete information from an iPhone remotely.
The defense maintains the argument that there's no evidence as to how the fentanyl got into Eric's system.
The European Union has paused approval of a major trade deal with the U.S. following last Friday's Supreme Court ruling on tariffs. Daily Wire foreign affairs reporter Cassie Akiva has the details.
Bernd Lange, the chair of the European Parliament's International Trade Committee, announced Monday that a trade agreement reached in July 2025, known as the Turnberry Deal, has been put, quote, on hold until further notice. He also said, quote, clarity and legal certainty are needed before any further steps can be taken. President Trump took to Truth Social in response, writing, quote, any country that wants to play games with this ridiculous Supreme Court decision, especially those that have ripped off the USA for years and even decades, will be met with a much higher tariff and worse than that which they just recently agreed to.
Meta and computer chip maker AMD have agreed to a deal worth more than $100 billion. Daily Wire reporter Zach Jewell has more.
The deal could result in Meta owning as much as 10% of AMD, one of NVIDIA's chief competitors in computer processing hardware. The deal between the two tech giants was announced on Tuesday morning, spurring a 7% spike in AMD stock. Meta has agreed to purchase enough of AMD's newest generation of computing chips over the next 5 years to supply 6 gigawatts worth of computing power. As the AI boom continues to grow, chip makers have been seeking to lock in longer-term deals with their limited supply of large buyers. After the announcement, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said he expects AMD to be, quote, an important partner for many years to come.
I'd like to introduce you to Gabby Stout. She's a high school junior in North Carolina who was inspired by Charlie Kirk and wanted to honor his legacy by painting a message on her school's Spirit Rock. But after school officials gave Gabby permission, they reversed themselves, censoring Gabby's message and publicly accusing her of vandalism. The accusation even aired in local news. Gabby was punished for standing up for the biblical values that Charlie spent his life defending. Now, our friends at Alliance Defending Freedom are representing Gabby in court to hold the school district accountable for violating her constitutional rights. We want to make sure Gabby knows she's not standing alone. With just a few minutes, you can go to joinadf.com/wire or text WIRE to 83848 and send her a quick message of support. That's joinadf.com/wire. Send Gabby an encouraging note or verse that will lift her spirit today. Gabby's courageously standing up for the values that Charlie fought for and that the Daily Wire stands for, including free speech. Go to joinadf.com/wire or text WIRE to 83848 for Alliance Defending Freedom today and support Gabby.
Wegovy and Ozempic are about to become a lot less expensive. Drug maker Novo Nordisk announced plans to cut prices by up to half starting next year. Even with the markdown, the drugs will continue to be very expensive at $675 per month starting in January of 27. For people paying cash, the drugs will cost about $150 to $500 monthly. The move comes amid a tense competition between Danish Novo Nordisk and American company Eli Lilly. Both are vying for greater market share for their GLP-1 drugs and deals with the Trump administration to lower costs. According to a Kaiser Family Foundation poll from late 2025, as many as 1 in 8 Americans are taking a GLP-1.
New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani is struggling to handle heavy snowfall and an unruly mob this week. Daily Wire senior editor Joel Needler has the details.
At a press conference Monday, Mamdani increased the hourly wage for snow shovelers from $19.14 to $30 per hour and said after 40 hours, that rate will jump to $45 per hour. Mamdani said their hope was to hire around 1,400 shovelers, but by comparison, in 2015, the city attracted over 6,000. Mamdani also warned building owners of incoming citations should they not clear a, quote, 4-foot path on the sidewalks.
We issued more than 4,000 violations after the last storm. We do not want to issue as many citations again. So please, if you are a property owner, do your part, clear the snow, and help make our city passable for our neighbors.
The mayor came under further fire after a video of a snowball attack on NYPD officers went viral on Monday. It shows several policemen walking through Washington Square Park while an unruly mob follows them, films them, and hurls large chunks of snow. The police were called due to a report that some people had climbed onto the roof of one of the park buildings. There were no arrests made, but multiple officers were injured and treated at a local hospital for lacerations on their faces. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo spoke out on the event, saying, quote, "This is disgraceful, but with a mayor who has a history of calling the police racist, evil, wicked, and corrupt, he set the tone."
A federal judge blocked former special counsel Jack Smith from releasing a report on President Trump's alleged mishandling of classified documents after leaving office in January of 2021. Daily Wire reporter Tim Pierce reports.
U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, who was appointed by Trump, wrote in a ruling Monday that releasing a report would violate principles of fairness and justice. She said Smith undertook a brazen strategy by compiling the document even after she dismissed the classified document charges against Trump. Cannon wrote that releasing the report would, quote, cause irreparable damage to former defendants from disclosure of non-public discovery material implicating still contested grand jury and privilege concerns. Cannon dismissed the charges against Trump in July 2024, ruling that Smith's appointment violated the Constitution's Appointments Clause and that his office was not properly authorized. Despite her dismissal order, Cannon noted that Smith continued investigating Trump and compiling a report that was intended for release to congressional lawmakers.
A new digital ad in the Nebraska Senate race is bringing revelations from the Epstein files to the campaign trail. Daily Wire political reporter Cameron Arkan has the details.
Republican Senator Pete Ricketts of Nebraska released an ad pointing out independent Dan Osborne's canceled fundraiser with high-level Democratic strategist Dana Chasen, whose name was referenced in an email in the files for allegedly moving children on a plane for Jeffrey Epstein. Chasen has strongly denied any allegations. The ad, which the Osborne campaign has called categorically false, said, quote, even after that information was public, Osborne continued to raise money with Chasen until he got caught. Although the fundraiser was scrapped, the ActBlue link to donate with Chasen's name on it as part of the host committee was still up until Monday morning. After the Daily Wire reached out to the campaign about the active ActBlue link, it was taken down.
And just a few years after boasting about how transgender surgeries were, quote, huge moneymakers, Vanderbilt University Medical Center will no longer perform the procedures. Daily Wire investigative reporter Meg Brock has more.
The Nashville-based healthcare center confirmed to the Daily Wire that the surgeries, which include procedures like crafting pseudogenitalia and removing female breasts, were being phased out for logistical reasons. A spokesman said, quote, due to operational limitations and lack of surgical coverage, Vanderbilt Health will cease providing gender-affirming plastic surgeries for adults. While it continues to provide what it calls non-surgical gender-affirming care for adults 19 years and older, Vanderbilt Health no longer provides any gender-affirming care for patients younger than 19. Vanderbilt Medical Center, also known as Vanderbilt Health, is a separate entity from Vanderbilt University. The hospital's transgender medical program first faced criticism in September 2022 when Daily Wire host Matt Walsh published videos highlighting comments from Dr. Shane Sebold-Taylor discussing how lucrative transgender surgeries were.
Those are your drive home updates this evening. To learn more about these stories, go to dailywire.com. And be sure to tune in tonight for the Daily Wire's live coverage of President Trump's State of the Union address, which will include many voices you know from Morning Wire, including Cabot Phillips, Mary Margaret Olahan, Lyndon Blake, and Brent Scher, and of course, all of the Daily Wire hosts in a State of the Union friendly fire. It starts streaming live on Daily Wire and YouTube at 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 6:45 p.m. Central. See you then.